Donald Trump has started a thing in recent weeks where he opens his rally with an alternative anthem playing while he salutes the January 6th rioters before then taking the mic and promising to pardon and free them all. Now, for the party of law and order, this is a pretty staunch contrast to how those within MAGA were calling for the, say, BLM protesters to be prosecuted, but of course, the differences there need not to be spoken. However, the Biden-Harris team hosted a press conference with multiple members who were involved in the defending of the Capitol in a various amounts of ways, who then took turns lighting up Trump for being unpatriotic and a self-motivated criminal. And I, of course, thought that would be perfect for us to cover. So let's start with the former Capitol Sergeant, Gonell.
He needs to look at the cases in court, and he'll see that there are weapons, firearms that were confiscated on that day. His failure to denounce violence on January 6, 2021 is a slap in the face to every officer who put their life on the line that day.
And again, this is a far cry from where Republicans tried to position themselves after the 2020 BLM protests, where they were pro-cop, pro-taking the protesters off the street and showing them they can't get away with this. We're on the police's side. But now Trump has shown that that's clearly only so far as they're going to serve him. If they're going to stop him from overthrowing democracy, then, throw them in jail, right? Multiple people at the Capitol had weapons as well. That's another weak talking point, including people being charged for that exact crime of bringing firearms onto Capitol grounds. And there's been photos released of rioters shooting them up in the air, as well as doing other things that really undercuts the weak narrative they're trying to portray here. Anyone who's seen 10 seconds of footage of rioters breaking into the Capitol can tell you that it was hardly a peaceful protest.
My fellow officers and I experienced that type of violence at the hands of a mob of MAGA extremists on January 6th, all because they bought into Donald Trump's lie that the 2020 election was stolen. That day, officers were beaten and brutalized. Trump never reached out to us. Here's a message for Donald Trump. You can't call yourself pro law enforcement when you inflame and encourage political violence at every turn. You can't claim to be on our side and then promise pardons for the violent insurrectionists who assaulted me and my brave colleagues and killed my fellow officers Brian Sicknick and Jeffrey Smith.
Trump made and has still made no efforts to reach out to Capitol Police. He doesn't talk about them in his rallies other than to call them traitors, but he'll be damned if he misses his salute to the rioters. It shows you where his priorities lay, and that's just with whoever is ready to serve him.
This is a person who, again, going as far back as 2015, announced his campaign by saying that Mexicans were rapists and murderers, who, after Charlottesville, said that there were very fine people on both sides, who after ahead of the 2020 election, said that the Proud Boys, a known white supremacist group, should stand back and stand by. Before we saw what happened on January 6th, where these two officers were defending our democracy when he incited a violent mob to try to overthrow our election results. And now he's back on the stump every single day, encouraging and celebrating political violence, right? He starts off every rally with an ode to the January 6th rioters. He talks about and jokes about beating up protesters who show up at his rallies. Every single day, he jokes about Nancy Pelosi's husband and what happened to him. Every single day, this man is stoking violence.
This is really a perfect way to sum up the Trump playbook, and it shows how tired the justifications from his supporters are, where they always want to say, oh yeah, he'll make mean comments, or yeah, occasionally he goes too far, but this, but that. But there's a clear pattern of behavior now of this man utilizing dangerous rhetoric to stoke violence in ways that further serves his purpose. And he doesn't care who it lays fire to in the meantime, and it's easily documented, as he said, from his first campaign in 2015 to running again in 2020 to now, just one oppressed minority group to the next until the wheels fall off.
18 innocent people were gunned down in Parkland, Florida while he was president. Where was he during their funerals? He was golfing. Just months ago, he told families affected by a mass shooting in Iowa that they needed to get over it. He called men and women who died serving and protecting this country suckers and losers.
And the people you're hearing from in these clips are people who served, they're veterans, they're people who were cops, people who wanted to defend the Capitol, who wanted to protect democracy, all the way up until the destruction that Trump brought into it. And now largely they all want to stay as far away from it as possible. Trump doesn't hold any real values. He's pro-law and order until cops are trying to stop him from overthrowing democracy. He's pro-military till he starts talking about John McCain and making fun of prisoners of war. It's all about whatever positions are going to further himself. His only true motivation is his greed and his hunger for power and control. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.